Welcome to the first 2020 off-season show. On today's episode, we're going to first start out with a hunt from Jeff Deets in Illinois that took place after we shut down the show season this past winter. I think we finished up sometime around the 10th or so, 12th of January, but Illinois keeps going until the middle of January. And it turned cold, and Jeff had a really good hunt. So we're going to bring you that first. And then in the meantime, I'm going to be walking and trying to find some sheds down here below the house. I've got Bentley here to help me, and we'll make a loop around, and I'll check back in after Jeff's hunt.
It is January 19th, and it's the very last day of the 2019-2020 bow season for Northern Illinois. So down to the wire, fourth quarter. 30 seconds on the clock, I guess, to be cliche, but anyhow, got some pretty good weather right now. It's like 10 degrees out. I came in here last night, had a pretty good sit, saw at least 25 deer, so, saw some different groups a couple different times, but for sure, that a few different bucks and stuff that I haven't really seen a whole lot of this year. Nothing huge, but a lot that were kind of borderline. I've got a blind up here a little bit further. I thought about debating going in there, but, that would have been sacrificing our wind, and even though it's the last night of the season, still probably not going to get a mature buck to come in, downwind, and not going to give up, hunting conservatively, I guess, so to speak, the way we've hunted all year, but, at any rate, so last night of the season, hopefully get some action here pretty soon, and hopefully be bringing you some activity shortly. Better buck coming too. Yeah. That one looks pretty good. Oh, that's a good stud. That's a stud. That's a stud. That's baby dad, isn't it? No, that's that new buck. That deer's a stud. Those deer are feeding over there. I know. The worst part is, there's a little Bill. Don't let him see this. There's so many eyes out there right now. Here comes a good buck. Yeah. Never filmed him before, ever. There's two mature bucks out here. Yeah. Which one you guys usually go on? Whoever gives me a shot. Yes. See that last buck? There he is. I'm on it, right by the fence post. Well, it's about 4:40, and we got like 20 minutes left. Got the buck I call Baby 10, who I've not laid eyes on, and since 2015, out here with another buck, Arthur, who just showed up on the farm about Christmas time. They're about 80 or 100 yards. They came out with a bunch of does and stuff. We got some beans behind us, so we're hoping that maybe there's just a chance, since they didn't leave with all those other does, that they'll work their way down to us and getting these beans behind us. Otherwise, regardless, it's been an awesome sit. Just to see those shooters on the last night of the hunt's pretty cool. So it's a little frustrating that they're standing right next to the other blind down the row here that we thought about being more aggressive and going to, but either way, I think most of those deer were bedded probably pretty close there, so if we'd have gone down there, that probably would have messed it all up. We're just going to sit this out till the end. With any kind of luck, maybe they'll work their way our direction. We'll see what happens. He's going in the shrubs. He might come in that valley. Right. There's deer on him. Or there's something. Okay. Looks like Baby 10's going through that valley. Here, I gotta sit in your chair. Alright. Yeah, model. It's a baby too. Look out. Good. Nice job, man. Nice. I mean, you talk about last second, last minute, last hour. I'm pretty sure we just got it done. It looks like he just dropped. Didn't even make it out of the bean field. Told Wade's on with me tonight, filming for me. And I told him, I said, you know, they're going to come through and probably pop up in these beans right behind us at 30 yards. And that's exactly what happened. So we kind of got shifted around inside the redneck here and got everything turned. And, you know, I've been after this buck all year. He was probably one of my top target deer as far as, you know, a deer that I had history with and everything. I know he's at least probably 7.5 this year. And, you know, just what a way to send out the season. So I'm so jacked. I'm like so pumped right now. That's awesome.
Well, pulled him up here, kind of got him out of the edge of the field and just kind of showing off a little bit of the character he's got here. The extra split there that I didn't know. I thought he may have broke that off. And split G2 here, split coming off of that G3 on this side and a split G2 on that side, and then a crab claw on the end there. So an older deer. I figure he's probably 7.5 this year, just based off of the history I have with him. And definitely excited to end my season. What's been kind of a rough, tough season. This is for sure the highlight. It just shows you it's never over till it's over. And literally the last 10 minutes legal shooting for the 2019-2020 season. So thanks again for watching Midwest Whitetail, the Heartland Show, and we'll see you again next year.
So Jeff's hunt reinforces a lesson that we know only too well. It has to be cold for this late season hunting to be good. Going into the very end of the season here in Iowa, it was way warmer than normal. And around the 10th of, well, I'm not exactly sure when the weather turned, but our season ended on the 10th. And it was shortly after that it started to get cold. And when it did, then that's when the action picked up. So just keep that in mind. It's always about the temperature during the late season. Without the cold, the deer just don't feel that stress, and they don't have that same sense of urgency to move during daylight and head to the food. Now, in this next segment, I'm going to do a little bit of a throwback, and we're going to do several of these over the next few weeks during the off-season series, where we go back and look at a hunt that took place, you know, sometime during the 13-year history of Midwest Whitetail. So we've got a lot of bucks to go back on. There's a lot of stories, hopefully a lot of lessons, and we should have some fun at least going back and reminiscing. The first one I'm going to hit on is this deer that I killed in 2009 on November 5th, and it was a buck that I'd nicknamed Survivor. That morning, he came past early, crossed about 100 yards away, and I tried to call him in, but he kept going. He stopped, he looked, and then he went on his way. Oop, there's a big one right there. Serious. It's the Survivor, I think. Is it? I'm gonna wait to see before I grunt. I think he's gonna go left. Is he staring at us? No. What's he doing? He's gonna say it. Do you think he heard me? He didn't act like it. Staring straight for him. Okay, let me try again. He had to avert that. He's not acting like it. He doesn't care then. There he's looking. What's he doing? He's heading right down over that hill. He's not coming our way. He'll end up back here. During the course of that morning, a good lesson is the way that Survivor reacted to the call. He didn't come in when I first called to him, but he did stop and look. But he did come in 2 hours later. It was mid-morning. He was heading right straight to the tree. So he had marked that spot. Whatever business he was going off to do, he finished that, and then he came back looking for the source of that call, which I thought was pretty interesting. And you'll see that a fair amount. If you got a buck on the move, if you can get him to at least hear it, he'll stop and look. If he doesn't stop and look, he may not have even heard the call, but get him to stop and look. Sometimes they'll come back later. You know, they may go do their rounds, whatever they had in their mind, and then they come back. So there's something about that morning that was special. We saw 3 shooter bucks. One of them ended up being a deer that we nicknamed Big, really high quality buck. And then the other one was, I think, the 4-year-old version of the double G4 buck, the deer I killed in 2012. And we've talked about it quite a bit here on Midwest Whitetail. When the first does are coming into estrus, that really gets those deer moving, gets those bucks moving. Once a lot of the does are in estrus, they start getting sidelined, and they get pulled off with does, and they're not traveling as much. They're not looking with nearly as much effort as what they would when that first doe or two are starting to come in. That's what I think happened there. The 5th of November would be on that front end of when a lot of does are starting to come into estrus. Perfect time to catch that first hot doe. Well, I walked about 20 acres and did not find a single antler. And this is a good spot. Normally I would have found something in that area, but maybe they're still holding. I know there's some that are. Drake was out though a couple of times during the past week on the farm, and he's found probably about 10 or 12 antlers so far. So they're definitely there. They're definitely on the ground. Now is the start of really when the prime antler hunting begins. We got a lot of that coming up in the next few episodes. If I'm not mistaken, I think Josh told me that he had some pretty cool stuff, some pretty neat shed hunting that they're going to be doing for the next episode. And we're going to try to do at least one of these throwback hunts each week and really start diving into some of the lessons that we've learned over the years. The off season is a great time to go back over some of our hunts and remember some of the important lessons that we've learned. Well, that's it for this week. I appreciate you joining me. We'll see you right back here next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail. And remember to always dream big.